Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. In Percy Jackson's dream, Grover Underwood is running from the Cyclops, Polyphemus, and enters a wedding shop. The shop then blows up and Percy hears Polyphemus' voice. When he wakes up, he sees a dark object in the window which he describes as a shadow belonging to nobody and nothing. This later turns out to be Annabeth. The same day at Meriwether College Prep, Percy is stuck playing dodgeball with Tyson, his friend who is bullied, against large 7th graders who turn out to be Laestrygonian giants. They summon explosive dodgeballs in an attempt to kill Percy, but he is protected by Tyson, who is unaffected physically or mentally by the monster's cannonballs. Annabeth Chase saves Percy by killing the last Laestrygonian giant, Joe Bob, by stabbing it from behind, and takes Percy and Tyson back to Camp Half-Blood by calling the Grey Sisters and their taxi. Upon returning, they find the camp under attack by 2 bronze Caucasus bulls made by Hephaestus. Talia's tree, which protects the camp, had also been poisoned by an unknown intruder. Tyson manages to subdue one bull and Clarice takes care of the other one. Chiron is fired because he is suspected of poisoning the tree since he is a son of Kronos. He is replaced by Tantalus, a man who has been summoned from the fields of punishment. Percy finds out that Tyson is a Cyclops and thus also a son of Poseidon. The campers begin to mock Percy's relationship to Tyson, causing him to be greatly embarrassed for having the latter as a brother. Meanwhile, Tantalus revives an ancient tradition in the form of a chariot race. Percy and Annabeth have a fallout, partly because of their quarrel about Tyson joining their team, and partly because of her strong dislike for all Cyclopes in general. During the first competition, the campers are attacked by Stymphalian birds. Although Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson help stop the attack, Tantalus accuses them of disturbing the birds with their terrible driving. Clarice LaRue manages to win the race, partly because the other competitors were stunned by the sudden appearance of the birds. She immediately becomes Tantalus's favorite camper, and orders a feast to be prepared in her triumph. However, he sentences Percy, Annabeth, and Tyson to kitchen patrol because he blames them for the reason the Stymphalian birds attacked due to their terrible chariot racing. While they wash the dishes instead of the harpies, Percy and Annabeth call a truce after he explains to her his dream via his empathy link with Grover that he is in trouble and cannot escape from the Sea of Monsters. At the campfire, Annabeth and Percy ask Tantalus to send somebody on a quest after Percy tells the rest of the campers that it is possible to save the camp via the Golden Fleece. He also reveals the list of numbers that the Grey Sisters had given them, which, he realizes, are actually longitude and latitude. The campers pressure Tantalus to give in, and he finally complies. The quest to go find and bring back the fleece is given to Clarice, who visits the mummified oracle. Later, Percy feels the need to walk by the beach to clear his head. He meets Hermes, who convinces him to go on the quest, explaining that though a wrong is committed, if the doer makes the best out of it, everything may end well. He gives Percy 3 yellow duffel bags filled with necessities, ambrosia, drachmas, mortal money, clothes, vitamins, and a thermos filled with wind. He also summons Annabeth and Tyson. He disappears as soon as they come, and Percy briefly explains his encounter with the god before the harpies arrive. Percy receives help from his father in the form of hippocampi. The trio travel to a passing cruise ship, the Princess Andromeda, and climb aboard. They investigate for a while, but the whole ship seems to be empty. Soon, they each find an empty room, and they decide to stay for the night. The Princess Andromeda is revealed to be owned by Luke Castellan and the malign Titan army. The 3 are captured and learn that Luke is trying to help Kronos overthrow Olympus. They manage to escape the ship using Hermes' thermos of winds. Upon reaching land, Percy sends Tyson away to find some powdered donuts as an excuse to talk to Annabeth about her past in private, particularly about her aversion to Cyclopes. However, Percy is surprised to find out that Tyson actually found some donuts at a suspicious monster donut shop nearby. They then find out that the shop is connected to the life force of a hydra, which arrives almost kills them. They are saved by Clarice, who has a ship of her own, the CSS Birmingham, a Confederate battleship manned by dead Confederates given to her by her father, Ares. The CSS Birmingham enters the Sea of Monsters, known to mortals as the Bermuda Triangle, but is severely damaged when it teeters between Scylla and Charybdis. The engine's temperature spikes to an almost unbearable heat, and Tyson volunteers to fix it. Scylla snatches Percy, and at that moment, the engine explodes. Unfortunately, Tyson is still inside. Percy loses consciousness, and when he comes to, he finds himself on a small raft with Annabeth. She managed to save the multivitamins and explains that she used up the winds from the thermos in order to man the raft. Neither Tyson or Clarice are seen by Percy or Annabeth after the explosion. Percy and Annabeth are washed up at CC's spa and resort, which they later discover is Circe's island. In reality, it is a prison for male demigods. Circe's helper takes Annabeth to give her a makeover, while Circe turns Percy into a guinea pig. Using Hermes multivitamins, which Annabeth pours inside the cage, Percy and the rest of the guinea pigs, Blackbeard and his crew, are able to turn into humans again. Percy and Annabeth escape using Blackbeard's ship while the pirates pillage and loot the island resort. Annabeth expresses a desire to hear the song of the sirens. She claims that upon hearing the song, the listener will realize their deepest desires. However, their song is so enchanting that the listener will seek to reach them at all costs. Percy is reluctant to give in, but he agrees to tie her to the mast in order to stop her from attempting to reach the sirens. He also agrees to stuff wax into his ears in order to keep a level head. As soon as they pass by the island, Annabeth begs Percy to free her, but Percy ignores her pleas and turns his back to her. However, once he checks on her, he sees that she has freed herself with her knife as he had forgotten to disarm her. Percy swims after her and reaches her. As soon as he touches her, he sees the vision that she must be seeing, a Manhattan redesigned by herself, her mother and father reunited, and a reformed Luke. Percy manages to shake her out of the illusion, and they make it back to the ship. When the Sirens' Island is but a distant haze, Annabeth tells Percy her fatal flaw, hubris, or deadly pride. They pass by an island with one of Hephaestus's forges, and Annabeth finally tells Percy why she dislikes Cyclope so much that relates to her adventures with Talia, Luke and Grover as they travel to Camp Half-Blood. Soon, they reach the island of Polyphemus. Percy and Annabeth discover that Polyphemus kidnapped Grover because he thinks Grover is a female Cyclops and wants to marry him. Percy and Annabeth reach the island of Polyphemus. They reach his cave by riding the underside of his sheep as the animals enter the cave. They manage to save Grover with the help of Tyson and Clarice, who have apparently survived the explosion, recovering the Golden Fleece and winning a skirmish against Polyphemus in the process, although their ship sinks. They make their way from Polyphemus Island and the Sea of Monsters to Miami, Florida, via Hippocampi, and Percy sends Clarice, with the fleece, back to camp. Later, Tyson tells Percy that Polyphemus is fat and spoiled and that baby Cyclopes are left on the street to learn how to survive, learn to make things from scraps, and to appreciate blessings instead of taking attention from the gods for granted. Percy, Annabeth, Grover, and Tyson are captured yet again by Luke, who tries to invite them to his hospitality aboard the Princess Andromeda. Percy, however, manages to contact the camp with an iris message, tricking Luke into admitting he poisoned Talia's tree. In a duel with Luke, Percy is nearly killed and gets his leg injured. He is saved by Chiron and his relatives, the party ponies. Chiron is rehired after being proven innocent, and the Golden Fleece cures Talia's tree of Luke's elder snake poison, a substance taken from Tartarus in the underworld. Suddenly, Talia, the daughter of Zeus herself, emerges from the tree for the reason that the Golden Fleece does its work too well, bringing her back to life, and giving Kronos yet another chance to control the prophecy.